Hey everybody, I'm Kristen. This is my YouTube channel, and today we're talking about ways to stay creative even when you're not writing. Let's do this. Sometimes, let's be honest, we just need a break from writing, and let's not beat ourselves up about it. I, on a personal note, just had a whole lot of life change. I quit my job. I accepted a new job. I moved from California to Utah. I am navigating a relationship. I am dealing with some anxiety. My financial situation has changed a little bit and I'm adapting to that. I have four rabbits now who rely on me, and I feel like I'm going absolutely insane. And writing wasn't really something that is on my plate right now, just because I don't have the capacity to really give it the time and the energy and the love that it needs. But it doesn't mean I don't want to be writing. It just means that at this point in my life, something had to give, and that something had to be writing. And I think there's just going to be times in our lives where that's the case, where something's got to give and sometimes it's going to be writing. But there are ways that we can stay creative and stay in a writer's mindset, even if writing isn't something that we're doing every day. And that's what I want to talk about today. There are 4 ways that I do this, and I wanted to share that with you in case anybody out there in the author tube or the reader tube or the YouTube kind of place, what is the word I'm looking for? Community, there we go. Has ever had that happen and is looking for ways to get past that. So the first thing is, it's pretty easy. It's read. So even if you're not writing, stay reading. And even if it's a chapter a night, even if it's an Audible, you're listening, even if it's, books on tape, that's the same thing as Audible, I guess. Keep those words coming and keep those stories coming, because that will spark your creativity even when you're not creating it yourself. And I think that is so important, because you can't really, when things calm down, expect to jump right back into writing if you haven't kept your creative juices flowing. So for me, that's a huge one, is just keep reading. And even if it's just a chapter a night, even if I'm just reading up on my favorite characters, just keeping the words and the stories from other people flowing into my brain is very helpful. That's the first one. The second one is similar. It's watch movies. This is a great way, for me at least, and for my anxiety, to just calm down. It gives me something else to focus on, and it also gives me other plots to focus on. So if I'm watching like a Marvel movie, for example, I'm paying attention to the plots that are going on. Not that I'm going to copy them, but by identifying plots, it keeps my mind in that writing kind of mindset. If I'm watching a romantic comedy, I'm looking at the conflict. If I'm watching, a horror movie, I'm looking at the foreshadowing that comes as the characters are about to encounter something horrible. So watching movies is a great way just to kind of relax and let go, but it's also a really important way for you to keep your creativity sharp as well. The third thing that I do, and this may be a little bit weird, but when I'm out in public or when I'm looking out my window, since we're still kind of on lockdown with this COVID-19 thing, I look at people and I kind of make up stories about their lives. So if it's 2 people walking a dog, how did they get the dog? How did they come to meet each other? What's their relationship? Where do they live? What does their house look like? So it's stuff like that I try to imagine. And I'm not writing it down. It's just in my brain, keeping that exercise flowing. And it's weird. And I know it's weird, but maybe some of you guys do it too. So when I'm not actively writing or going through my writing process, I'm still creating these scenarios that are helping me to really keep my creative juices flowing. Let's see, that was 3. The fourth, maybe there are 5. The fourth is just to pay attention to details. I was taking a train ride not too long ago, and this really stuck out to me because I was paying attention to details. Like I was focused on paying attention to details. But I noticed this dog that was running through this lumber yard, and there were just these long steel pipes, these long like railroad ties, and I just remember that dog running, and it spurred all these thoughts like, what is it running from? Like, is it running to protect someone? How does it know that particular lumberyard so well? Like, so it kind of spurred questions, but paying attention to details is important. Like, there's this little fruit stand outside of the grocery store that I go to. Like, and I can tell you exactly what it looks like. I can tell you about the man that runs it. I can tell you about the guy who runs the 7-Eleven where I can get my big gulps. Hashtag Diet Coke addict. Actually, that's quotes. Hashtag Diet Coke addict. So just being aware of details, I think, is really important as well. Not only is it safer, it makes you aware of your surroundings, but it also is a great way to keep those creative juices flowing and keep that notice, because when you're writing again, you're going to want to put details like that in there. You're going to want Mohad, the guy with the orange shirt who sells me my Big Gulp every other day. You're going to want to know some details about him when you're writing him in a story, just as an example. So that's the fourth one, I think. Read, create stories about other people, watch movies, pay attention to details. And the fifth one is take notes. So even if you're not writing, write down ideas that you have. If, like, I wrote down the idea about the dog. Doesn't mean that I wrote a story about the dog. It just means that I wrote down that there was a dog running through a lumber yard. If you, I don't know, see anything out of the ordinary. If there's old women who are drinking martinis at 11 in the morning at your favorite brunch cafe and talking about like their husbands and how crazy they are, like, write that down. That may be something that's really interesting in a future story. So those are my tips of how to stay creative when you're not in a place in your life where writing is possible. So I hope that helped you. They helped me for sure. And I'm excited to be back on AuthorTube/YouTube. This is a creative outlet for me. It's a great community. I'm adding different kind of videos all the time, and I'm just super excited to be here and part of the community. So thank you, and I will see you on my next video.